barbershop is in Colorado.
Yeah, more interesting.
Oh, it's okay.
And there were some. You know why they were? Because they're black. And my actually crazy about it. The presentation. We're ready.
הנה מצאו מנעים שבטחים גם יחד הנה מצאו מנעים שבטחים גם יחד הנה מצאו שבטחים גם יחד הנה מצאו שבטחים גם יחד הנה מצאו מנעים שבטחים גם יחד, הנה מצאו מנעים, שבטחים גם יחד. אשא עיניי אל ההרים, מאין יבוא עזרי. אשא עיניי אל ההרים, מאין יבוא עזרי, עזרי מעם אדוני, עושה שמיים וארץ. עזרי מעם אדוני, עושה שמיים וארץ. אשא עיניי אל ההרים, מאין יבוא עזרי. אשא עיניי אל ההרים, מאין יבוא עזרי. Shabbat Shalom, everyone. Shabbat Shalom. Oh, that was really good this time. That was really good. Can we do it one more time anyways, just for like old time's sake? Shabbat Shalom, everyone.
Shabbat Shalom.
Oh my gosh, it's even better on the second attempt. Oh. Shabbat Shalom, everyone. I'm so happy to see all of your smiling faces here this evening on this actually much nicer winter day than it has been in the last few. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Sam Kay. I'm one of the rabbinic interns here at Temple Sholem. I'm in my final semester at HUC-JIR, thank God. And I'm very excited to be here with you all tonight at Temple Sholem. And Rabbi Turlin Champ will join us in just a few minutes. I want to offer a special welcome to those of you who are online with us, watching our stream. Thank you so much for choosing us to be your community of comfort and your spiritual community. Even though you were not here with us physically, we want to extend that warm welcome to you, as well as a warm welcome to any guests that we might have here with us tonight. Are there any guests that want to introduce themselves this evening? You don't have to, but you can if you'd like. Okay, wonderful. Something good. Something good. That has been my mantra of the last few weeks. Whenever I've been here with you, I've just been saying, we need to think about something good that has happened to us in the last week, in the last month, something good that's going to happen to us in the next week or within the next month. I will start. I'm going to warn you, it's going to be very hard to follow me. Are you all ready? Are you okay with that? Or should I hold off? Okay. Taylor and I got married 2 weeks ago. Thank you very much. So that's been my something good. I left you all. I went up to Canada, and there we got married, and now we're back. So it's warm for us. Yeah, in comparison. Other people have warm thoughts, warm feelings, warm, good light. Yeah, my mom?
Yes, my son got married.
Oh. I guess that tops mine, actually. Mazel tov, mazel tov.
To your daughter.
Yeah.
New daughter.
Yes, John.
Our oldest daughter was in to visit us for a few weeks from Zanzibar.
Wow. From Zanzibar. What did she do there?
She was a teacher guide.
Amazing. I'm glad you got time with your daughter. Congratulations. Mazel tov. Other good, happy, warm thoughts?
I'm thrilled that the weather forecast for next week is way better than this past week.
Those are literal warm thoughts. I'm looking forward to that myself. A little bit of sunlight will do us all some good. Yeah.
Warm thought. Rabbi Trollenshamp.
Oh, yes. She did a lot of good and made many of us very proud. Yes.
Going to be in the North Carolina Comedy Festival next month.
Oh, congratulations. Mazel tov. That's beautiful.
That's funny.
I wish you great luck and great success with that. Yes, Taylor?
I made my own pasta for the first time today. And it made me very happy.
Okay. New culinary exhibits. Yeah. I see someone in the back. Yes.
Our daughter was selected to be one of 9 to go to India for 5 months internship in her master's program at University of Maryland.
Amazing. Mazel tov to her. What part of India is she going to?
Kochi.
Oh, wow. That should be a great time, a wonderful experience of growth and learning.
C-O-C-H-I.
Okay. Does anyone have a last one they want to bring in to really bring us home? Yes, Sharon?
I had my first ukulele lesson today.
You had your first ukulele lesson. Do you want us to say Shehechianu for that? You will.
Is there a blessing for the ukulele?
Is there a blessing for the ukulele? I think it's similar to the blessing on the czar.
Yes.
Sorry, that might have been a deep cut. Welcome, everyone. Shabbat Shalom. For our candle lighting, I would like to invite Marcy Mendelson to join us. We are on page 2.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu l'halik ner shel Shabbat.
Amen.
Hear my prayer, I sing to you. Be gracious to the ones I love, and bless them with goodness and mercy and peace. Oh, hear my prayer to you. Let us light these lights and see the way to you, and let us say Amen. Let us light these lights and see the way to you, and let us say Amen.
We continue welcoming Shabbat on page 24.
Shemor v'zachor v'dibur
nikakala, fene fene Shabbat nikabala. Alechazoti nikakala, fene fene Shabbat nikabala. Verse 9. Volim shalom atarabala, dam besimcha uvesola, tolemone absoluta, boichala, alechazoti nikakala, bene bene Shabbat nikabala, alechazoti nikakala, bene bene Shabbat nikabala. We continue standing as we welcome Shabbat with Shalom Alechem on page 24. Shalom Alechem, Malachei Hasharim, Malachei Elyon, Melech Malachei Amlachim, Kadosh Baruch. Shalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon, Melech Malachei Amlachim, Kadosh Baruch Hu. Aruni leShalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon, Melech Malachei Amlachim, Kadosh Baruch Hu. Seichem leShalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon, Melech Malachei Amlachim, Kadosh Baruch Hu. We continue on page 26 with Chatzi Kaddish.
Yitkadal v'yikadal shemei rava.
Amen.
Amad v'yivrach yutei v'yamlik malhutei. Yiparak v'yishtabak v'yipar v'yitroman v'yitnaseh v'yithadar v'yithaleh v'yithalal shemei v'kudashah. Shalom mincha b'chata v'shirata.
Tush b'chata v'nechemata, tamira miyama,
V'yimaru.
Page 28.
Baruch Hu et Adonai HaMevorach. Baruch Adonai HaMevorach le'olam ha'ed. Roll into dawn,
Roll into light, night becomes day, day turns to night. Roll into dawn, roll into light, night becomes day, day turns to night. Oreo v'layla, kolel or mipnei choshech, kolel or mipnei choshech, v'choshech mipnei or. Roll into dawn, roll into light, night becomes day, day turns to night. Roll into dawn, roll into light, night becomes day, day turns to night. Responsively, the bottom of page 33, we read, Wisdom and wonder, passion and instruction, story and symbol.
All these things your Torah gives to us.
And the more we devote ourselves to it, the more it grows and gives.
What could be a truer token of your abiding love
Than this holiest of your works and the living language that gives it form. Baruch atah Adonai, Ohev Amo Yisrael. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. 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 Shekivot Shekivot Malchuto Leolam Va'ed. Baruch Shekivot Shekivot Malchuto Leolam Va'ed. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Please be seated. We're on page 36. V'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol levavecha u'b'chol nafshecha u'b'chol me'otzecha v'hayu ha'devarim ha'ele asher anochi metzavecha hayom al levavecha v'shinotav levanecha v'diba et habam v'shivtecha b'beitecha uvlechtecha b'derech uvshofecha uvkumecha ukshartan li'od al yadecha hayu letotafot b'ninecha uchtavtam al mezuzot beitecha uvisharecha למען תזכרו ועשיתם כל מצוותיי והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם אני אדוני אלוהיכם אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים להיות לכם לאלוהים אני אדוני אלוהיכם. Page 39. Standing on the parted shores of history, we still believe what we were taught before ever we stood at Sinai's foot. That wherever we go, it is eternally Egypt. That there is a better place, a promised land. That the winding way to that promise passes through the wilderness. That there is no way to get from here to there, except by joining hands and marching together. So the tune for Micha Mocha for this marching is, it's called We Are Marching, and it's really easy to say. We are marching in the light of God, we are marching in the light of God, we are marching in the light of God, okay? And then once you kind of get it, we'll go into the Hebrew, the Micha Mocha, which is a little intense. It's the same tune, it's just hard to shove the Hebrew in, and then we're going to go back to We Are Marching. Okay? We are marching in the light of God. 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 We are marching. We are marching. We are marching in the light of God. We are marching. Marching. We are marching in the light of God. Micha mocha ba'elim Adonai, Micha mocha nehtar b'kodesh. Micha mocha ba'elim Adonai, Micha mocha nehtar b'kodesh. Nura tehilot oseh of God. We are marching in the light of God. We are marching in the light of God. We are marching in the light of God. We are marching,
Marching, marching,
marching. Oh, we are marching in the light of God. We are marching,
marching, marching.
marching. Oh, we are marching in the light of God.
I just wanted to share a little something that I've been studying this week, something I've been learning for my work. And I've been reading some really incredible things for my thesis that I'm working on. And there is a question that hangs over the entire chapter that I've been working on, which says, how important are we, really, humanity? How important are we in the grand scheme of things? When you have a being as simply gigantic as the divine, something so huge, something so overwhelming that it is physically impossible to comprehend. And whether that is something that you understand in a traditional vein or simply in a scientific mathematical sense of when you try to envision the universe and then you keep going out farther and farther and farther, and I say, what's next? And that idea of infinity. How big is infinity? How hard is it to wrap our minds around that? And then we say, okay, how important then can we really be? How important are we? And so there are, of course, two very distinct schools of thought on this. There's many schools of thought on this, but there's two that I'm playing with at the moment. And one says, right, you're not that important. You're not that big a deal. You're good. Glad you're here. But at the end of the day, no. There's this old Hasidic proverb that says, you are but dust and ashes, and you put that in your pocket. And then there's the alternative. And there's the alternative which says, I am created b'tselem Elohim. I am created in the image of God. This gigantic, all-powerful force, bigger than the universe, so gigantic and massive that it is not only bigger than everything that exists, it also intersects and is part of everything that exists. It cares about me. I resemble it. I am part of it. And it is a part of me. That makes me really, really important, actually. I'm not dust and ashes. As the other part of the Hasidic proverb goes, the world was created for my sake. And I put that in my other pocket. And the translation continues on to say that the trick of life is to know when to reach into your pocket and to pull out, I am but dust and ashes. What situation do I exist that I say, actually, you know what? I'm not such a big deal. And then, when do I reach into my other pocket and say, actually, no. I am loved. And the fact that I am loved makes me central to a part of reality. And the capstone that I found on this beautiful piece of poetry that I found, comes from Rabbi Nachman of Breslov. And he says, Al hayom she'ata noled, on the day that you were born, Zeh hayom she'hakadosh baruch hu bachor, that is the day that God decided she'ha'olam lo hitkayem biladayich, that the world could not continue without you. In fact, that is how important you are. That the day that you were born was the day that God said, this reality would not be the same without you in it. So, as we prepare ourselves to go into tefillah, into our personal time of prayer and reflection, where we speak to God in our hopefully one of our most intimate periods, I want us to keep those things in mind. The first piece, how important am I really? The second piece, I am loved, and that means a heck of a lot. And that third little capstone that says, and actually, this world would not be the same without me. We're going to, in that spirit of love, join together in Let There Be Love.
Let there be love and understanding.
Adonai Eloheinu, Ashkivenu, V'shmanu. Page 44, we join together in V'shamru. V'shamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat, la'asot et ha-Shabbat לדורותם ברית עולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. והגיעו בין בני ישראל אותי לעולם, אותי לעולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. ששת ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ, ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. יום השביעי שבת וינפש, שבת וינפש, שבת וינפש. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. I invite us to rise as we are able for tefillah. We begin on page 46.
Adonai sefatai tikach ufi yadi tefillah. Adonai, open my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu, Elohei Avotenu, Elohei Abraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah. הגדול הגיבור הנורא, אלוהים, אומר חסדים טובים, ועונה הכל, וזוכר חסדי אבות ואימהות, ומביא גדולה לבני בניהם, למען שמו באהבה. מלך עוזר ומושיע ומגן, ברוך אתה אדוני, מגן אברהם בעזרת שרה. אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני, בחיי הכל אתה רב להושיע. משיב הרוח ומוריד הגשם, נוגע חיים בחסד, בחיי הכל ברחמים רבים. זונק גופים ורופא חולים, ומתיר אסורים, ומקיים אמונתו כשני עפר. מבמוך מלכות ומדום אליו, מלך מנהיג ומחייב ומצליח ישועה. ונאמן אתה חיות הטוב, ברוך אתה אדוני חיי הטוב. אתה קדוש ושמך קדוש, קדושים בכל יום יעלו הסלע. ברוך אתה אדוני האל הקדוש.
Please be seated. We join together on page 57. And we read together, You are with us in our prayer, our love and our doubt, and our longing to feel your presence and to do your will. You are that still clear voice within us. And therefore, O God, when doubt troubles us, when anxiety makes us tremble, prayers. And there may we find you. And there find courage, insight, and endurance. And let our worship bring us closer to one another. That all of Israel, and all who seek you, may find new strength for your service. Page 60.
Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Ki ata hu melech Adon lechol hashalom. Ki ata hu melech Adon lechol hashalom. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Be'enecha levarech et amcha Yisrael b'chol עת ובכל שעה בשלומך. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Tasim Leolam. Tasim Leolam.
We just finished invoking God and asking for the blessing of peace, and now we continue and ask God for the blessing of healing. And at this time, we at Temple Sholem are specifically thinking about Koki Aronoff, Judy Avner, Mira Barner, Marcy Bine, Victor Bluestein, Sheila Boniface, Andrea Kanowitz, Ava Fried, Chuck Groen, Ethan Kadish, Yael Kraus, Leigh Krinnick, Elaine Hatefield, Mel Hudson, Ira Lerner, Lou Levy, Joan Little, Cherry Linder, Joan Lieb, Marcy Maxwell, Beth McDonald, Nancy Newmark, Iris Riggs, David Rose, Betty Roth, Bob Rubin, Curdy Shasty, Iris Sham, Mahalia Stoneman, Lou Strauss, Susan Warschauer, Fran Victor, Yehuda Ben Aaron, Chaim Ben Yaakov Ben Nechama. At this time, are there more names, more people that we love that we want to think of at this time, whether it's in need of a blessing of healing of body, or of mind, or of spirit? And if so, I invite you to share their names aloud with us at this time.
Julie Rich,
Sue Van,
Travis Bushy,
Fran Garrett,
Paul Callback, Meredith Sutman Clack.
Jonesburg, Janae, Daphne Janae.
We join together on page 253 with the Misha Berach. Misha Berach Avotenu v'imotenu Avraham Yitzchak v'Yaakov Sarah Rivka Rachel v'Leah. Hu yivarech et hacholim ha'eleh. HaKadosh Baruch Hu yimaleh rachamim alehem lahachalimam uliferotam lahazikam ulishlachem mehe rafua shlema min hashamayim refuat hanefesh urefuat haguf hashta ba'gala uvizman kariv v'nomar Amen.
Sheberach avotenu mikor habracha imotenu. May the source of strength
bless the ones before us. Help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. Ishebera imotenu nekora bracha yamotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen. We take this moment for prayer of the heart and silent prayer.
Shabbat Shalom. So I'd like to do a little teaching from our Torah portion today, and then I'm going to talk about my experience this week. And then right after I talk about mine, I want to open up the floor for anyone who has questions or concerns or comments. I understand in this larger environment, it's like very one-sided to extroverts, and that some conversations will happen after this, so this is not limited to it, but I just wanted to have an open sort of element of interactivity as part of this, and then we'll close and we'll continue on. So I won't keep you past the normal hours, but I wanted to make sure that you know you have that, and if you feel like something comes up in this that you'd rather have or you'd like a one-on-one conversation, just reach out, and I would love to have that with you. And something I really value about our community is how diverse we are, and I want to make sure that that's heard too. So in our Torah portion right now, we're in the middle of the Passover story. So you kind of know where we are. We're mid-plagues. We've done 5 plagues, and we're in the last bit and sort of on to our next journey. And so I could tell you about all those plagues, but you kind of know that part of the story, or a lot of you do. But there's an odd line that happens that we don't often dig into. And the line is in Exodus 12:2, which says, "This month shall be the beginning of months for you. It is to be the first month of the year for you." So basically, it's saying that right now, this time is the new year. It's saying that this is the real Rosh Hashanah. And so there's all kinds of different rabbinic events, like if Rosh Hashanah is the birth of creation, the year, that's our new year. But our Torah is actually saying, no, the new year for Jews starts with the Exodus. And there was one reading I liked about this, which was Rambam was a well-known sage, and he said, you start with Exodus as the counting of the new year, because you should always start with remembering. Where did you come from? Oh yeah, I've seen this before. And we count from there. And what it made me think about is a unique quality of you kind of know a Jew when you see one when they have Jewish Standard Time. Now tell me, what is Jewish Standard Time? We're late, right? Like the fact that we start and end on time is a miracle, I think. Every single week, I'm like, we did it. We defied our genetic ability to do that. That there's something about we roll in, we never say goodbye, we overcook. You know, there's always 12,000 people coming for dinner. That Jews, our relationship to time is really our own thing. And there's Shabbat, which is our other way of doing this natural desire to slow down. But this whole thing about starting to count from liberation, from the beginning of our journey from wilderness, I think is also something that needs to connect to that. I think that in modern day, or our everyday lives, starting to count from the Exodus is sort of thinking about these moments in each of our lives, where the before-after moments. Do you know what I'm talking about? Like, before I was this, I became that. So, yeah, after the accident, or after this illness, or after I was married, or after I was a parent, or after I moved, after I changed positions, any of those kinds of things where we entered a time of a new normal. I think about that we have these different New Years or different selves that happen too, like that, as human beings. And so it makes so much sense to me that our community counts multiple New Years, and one of those is with the Exodus of journey and creation. So I think when we think about those moments of, is this a before-after moment? Like, is this actually happening where my whole life is going to change and I'm going to have a new normal? That it's hard to decide actually in the moment. When you're in the moment, it's that liminal space of this actually could be significant or not. So I think it's possible that you actually only know the before-after moment after it's happened, when you reflect and you go, oh, that actually was a big deal in the end. And it's possible, and probably most likely, that there was no choice in the moment. It's something that happened to you, and that the before-after moment is actually what you choose to become as a result of it. And I think that there's a third option, which is, I think, the rarest option, which is this moment, what I call grace, where you know exactly what's happening in that moment. You know this is a before-after moment, and that the way you change and the way you choose and what you do in this moment is actually going to affect your whole life going forward. It's going to affect who you are. I think those moments are really rare. I'm 38, and I have been really connected to this quote by Dr. Martin Luther King. He said this 51 years ago, 1 year before his death, when he was 38. And this works for me. It might not work for you, but it's something that I've been really holding on to. My birthday's on Rosh Hashanah, so it all kind of weirdly goes together. This is the quote. You may be 38 years old, as I happen to be, and one day some great opportunity stands before you and calls you to stand up for some great principle, some great issue, some great cause. And you refuse to do it because you are afraid. You refuse to do it because you want to live longer. You're afraid that you will lose your job, or you are afraid that you will be criticized, or that you will lose your popularity, or you're afraid that somebody will stab you, or shoot at you, or bomb your house. So you refuse to take the stand. Well, you may go on and live until you are 90, but you're just as dead at 38 as you would be at 90. And the cessation of breathing in your life is but the belated announcement of an earlier death of the spirit. I know, it's heavy. I don't think that the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King was talking about every moment or every cause, that we should be jumping on these buses. But my guess is that those of you who are shaking heads right now know that you've had these moments, these opportunities to choose. So I'm going to tell you, I think I had that moment, and I think I had the grace of that choice of knowing what I was looking at this week. I'm going to explain to you what it was, what the purpose of it was, and then the reasons why I chose it, and then we're going to talk about it. So what it was is that, as most of you know, that the DACA, so this Deferred Act for Dreamers, for these children who came over undocumented, that their parents brought them over, that they were exempted from being deported, and now that they're at risk of being deported. Most of these people, there's 800,000 in our country, who have known no other land really besides our land. 800 of them are in our military, they are in our colleges, they're everywhere because they're here legally right now. And this idea that we punish children, that they will be deported to lands they won't know, be separated from their parents, I find quite painful. And it's a bipartisan effort. I think it's polling at something like 86% with Democrats and in the 70s for Republicans. And so most of us, we can't agree on immigration about anything else, but a lot of us can agree on this one, that we don't want these people to be deported. And so Ben the Ark, which is a Jewish organization for justice, came together and they said, we want to speak with one Jewish voice. And we want to do this by gathering in the Senate building, in the Russell Rotunda, and singing Jewish songs. And so we hope that our country will notice. And they'll say, okay, the Jews care about this. They care about it because most of us have immigrant parents or grandparents. I know that I'm a first-generation American. My grandfather is a Buchenwald concentration camp survivor. He made it here. Most of his family perished because they couldn't get here. And so a lot of Jews have these stories and this connection, and that's why they wanted to do this. And for our movement, the Reform Movement, who officially endorsed this and was part of it, and the Reform Action Center, which is basically our justice arm or our advocacy arm, decided to take this risk. Usually they send letters. They're really good at sending letters. But we're not really good at risking our safety. And when they came together, when we came together, it was just a few of us, and it grew and grew and grew to 130 people who entered the space. We walked through Washington. We entered at 10:30. We sang Ozi v'Zimrat Ya, and then we sang a couple other Jewish songs. The police asked us to stop. We sat down with our banners that said, please pass the Clean Dream Act. We kept singing, and then everyone who stayed and didn't stop singing or didn't move was arrested and taken to a holding facility. There were so many. We were supposed to go to DC Central, but there was too many of us. 87 were arrested in the end, and we were taken to a holding facility where we were searched for a second time, taking all of our prayer shawls off and fingerprinted and taken pictures of, and all the traditional things. I was there about 5 hours in the end, and it wasn't comfortable. It wasn't very comfortable. It wasn't pleasant. It wasn't heated. All these kinds of things. But I also know that it's nothing like these people's parents were being taken from their homes, that I have the ability in my stage in life, in my color of skin, and in my ability for legal representation to take a risk like that might show some kind of visible difference. So the reason I did it is because I believe that dreamers should stay. And I feel morally compelled to listen to this moment for me that I saw as I struggled with it, and some of you I actually called and talked to, and it was very painful to make the decision because it felt like, well, couldn't I do something else? Like, do I really have to go fly across, fly to do this kind of move? And I felt like it was a test. I talk a lot about justice, and I am a very devout person. I pray every day, and I study Torah every day. And so if I really meant it, then I need to risk something as part of it. And I wanted to know, was I really able to risk body and safety and reputation, or what are those things for something I believed in? The third reason I did it is because my Jewish institutions wanted to do it. And I wanted to support them on what they were going to do. When we signed in, only 2 rabbis were willing to do it. In the end, there was 20 of us. And so I think one of us can spark the other ones of us to do it. I know when I came back, before I left, there was very little action in Cincinnati. And when I came back, suddenly there's letters going out and community conversations. And I don't think it's something I'm doing, but I think it's something that we say, okay, a little courage can be shared. I think the last reason is my 4-year-old, she came home today and she said, someone told me you were wearing handcuffs. And I thought, well, that wasn't me. Who told you? And she said, why? And I said, well, I was arrested. And she said, well, are you bad? And I said, no, I'm not bad. And we talked about peaceful resistance. We talked about things, and I showed her I gotta keep my second set of zip ties. So I showed them to her, and in the end, she didn't understand my explanation, but I felt I had to tell her, which was that when she's older and she looks back at this time when our country was just kind of going at each other's throats and not agreeing, and she says, what did you do? And I could say, we tried. That's all I wanted to be able to do. So that's that part of it. Let's ask some questions. John's going to be my timekeeper. Go ahead, Jennifer.
What does your husband think?
Oh, okay. Sorry? Oh, so Jennifer asked, what does my husband think? I'll tell you first what my mother thought, because I'm a Jew, and first it started with your mama. My mom's incredibly supportive and amazing, so she's really amazing, but she first said, it was quiet, and she goes, can't someone else go? Like, can't someone who doesn't have kids do it? Doesn't have like a full-time, she found all these reasons, and I said, well, no, it has to be me. For me, it has to be me. And I think that Ryan felt the same way, but when I made the choice, we made it together, and he supported it. I need somebody at home I really believe in missional families, that together we do this, and it was both my whole family doing this together, because it all comes together. What else? Yes?
I just want to say how proud I am of you, and Susan, who couldn't make it tonight, told me to say the same thing to you.
Thank you, Barry. Thank you. Yes, Joyce?
You are not only on Facebook, but you are all over.
I know, it went weirdly viral, and I'm in the back the whole time. Like, I didn't take a speaking role or anything, but
Many people who are not Jewish.
Yes. I think it's because I was the only blonde. Like, I just stuck out. Mm-hmm.
During that time, I know you're very committed. Did you ever, question, had doubts? Were you scared? What were some of your feelings going through it? Did you think, what am I doing? Or
yes. So did I have doubts or fear?
Kind of choice. We go into it, but sometimes there's still doubts or concerns. Absolutely.
I had a lot of doubts, concerns, and fear before. I don't think I haven't slept in a couple of days. And I worried about my congregation. I worried about what all of you would think and what you still think, and how does it affect our relationship, even if it's my choice and my vacation time. I can do what I want with it and my money. But I was worried about that. I'm still worried about that. I wasn't worried about my safety, but there was a moment you're just so taught to follow the rules. So when a police officer was exceptionally kind, he said, I agree with you, but you need to stand up because I'm arresting you. And then he tied me too tight, so I was like, I gotta stay with this for 5 hours. I thought, I can't believe I'm saying no to an officer. That felt really strange. I've never been in an all-Jewish justice environment either, so that felt interesting to sit with Orthodox and atheists and all kinds of Jews and actually agree on something. It was weird. You know what I mean? I was like, just please don't bring up Israel. No one bring up Israel, and it'll be okay. And so that was both powerful. There was an 18-year-old who was arrested, and I thought, probably like my mom was like, 18, come on, girl, that's so early to be doing this. And then there was a woman who celebrated her 78th birthday, and she had because they told us what to wear, and I was like, I'm wearing jeans, this is gonna be dirty. But she wore a shirt saying, today's my 78th birthday, and all I want is a clean Dream Act. So I think when I felt scared, once I made the choice, I got a lot calmer, and I felt at soul peace, if that makes sense. And I wasn't scared, but I was shocked about at the end of it, when I was finally out, and I didn't realize how much I was probably carrying, because I was really tired. But yeah, I was scared the whole time. I don't think that courage is the absence of fear at all. I really believe that it's the absence, that it's because of it. Yes. Which one of you wants to go first? Sila?
I just wanted to attest to the fact that I know Miriam through many social justice things, and I always admire the way that you really stand up for it. One is Amos, but there are many others. So I am proud, just like
Thank you. Thank you.
Very proud.
Thank you, Sila. Thank you. Eva?
Hard act to follow, but I just wanted to share that my daughter, who's 21 and at a college in Savannah, Georgia, and one of very few Jews there, they stopped their busy day to watch you, and it was streaming live, and they called their parents. She called me, interrupted my day, and said, "Mom, you've got to watch this. This is amazing." And then I shared later in the day that it was you, and she was like, so proud. From Cincinnati.
He is the only one from the Midwest, yeah.
Yeah, so it touched young lives at a college in Savannah.
Thank you.
So
Thank
I
you for
just
saying
thought I'd
it.
share that.
That's the best email. I mean, I had all kinds of emails those last couple of days, and I think the one that most touched me was from a teenager here, and he wrote, "Rabbi, it was really hard for me to watch this. And I didn't understand it, but now I understand that social justice is part of Judaism." And that helped. Karen?
So you said there were only 20 rabbis?
Mm-hmm.
Who were the other people?
So, I mean, there were so many different organizations. So we were, so I was part of like the Reform contingent. I think there was a total of, 12 or so Reform representatives. But lately people, so that email blasted in all kinds of organizations. Actually, there was someone who taught me, who was an artist in LA that I knew, who flew in from it from a different, different people like that. So most people were lay people or organizers. A large contingent of trans folk were part of it. Jews of color, so just different kinds of representations. And then there was 300 dreamers who were outside, but they couldn't risk arrest. So we had worked along with CASA and other groups like that. And then the rabbis were from Alden. If you look at the pictures, you can kind of tell that we're all from different walks of Judaism. Maury.
So on the video, all of the people on the balcony above,
Yeah.
were those the dreamers?
So no, they couldn't even go in. So we had more than the people who were arrested show up. But when they made the calls, those people stepped back or went into the balcony. So there was a lot of supporters. You saw senators and things like that up and supporting too. So they came out. Even this journalist who came in today, in the prayer service, he said he did the very normal journalist thing. In the end, he said, I care about these things, but I'm not willing to hit the street yet. I'm not willing to do this yet. So I'm glad that there's people doing it. I think those were the kinds of people that were up there, but they were part of our trainings and things like that.
So they weren't just people who...
They weren't like randoms.
...walked in on the street.
No, they're like people, they might have, some of them, no. They're mostly part of our group. So the walk, actually, they said, Jews are only 2% of the population, but today we're going to make a big mark. The goal was to make a big mark. And so when we did the walk, we were 3 across and just walked across the whole, and we had police support for that because that was legal. And that was quite strong, too, to fill up 4 blocks just of Jews. So some of those people were those. Fred?
Did you receive any feedback from any politicians?
Feedback from any like, did we actually do what we wanted to do? I don't know. The first goal, the goal for me was different than I think the goal of the action. But the goal for the action was to garner some media attention that would make some of these senators and congressmen respond. And so what happens is right now we did this, so now it's up, and then the letters went out from all the different groups. So JCRC, there's a whole bunch of committees here, and maybe some of you are on those boards in Cincinnati, who wrote a letter to our Congress, our representatives. And so they're just saying, again, the Jewish Voice is affirming this, and a lot of places are having continued actions within their cities, saying, we don't want to use people as a tool here. We don't want the government shut down, but we do want this to stay. And how does that work? So I don't know if it's, I don't know. Yes, Eva?
What kind of response have you, or support have you received from other local rabbis and HEC?
Well, that's what I was going to ask. Were there any other rabbis? Were there any other people from Cincinnati?
I was the only one from the Midwest, like not even just Ohio, of the Midwest, and only human, yes. So, the rabbi or any other thing. Yes. There's a lot of people who flew in. There was a group of seniors, so in their 70s, who all came from Illinois, and they made the front page of their Illinois newspaper, and they were so excited. So I guess, does that count as Midwest, Illinois? All right, so just Ohio. All right, I just can only claim Ohio. So I haven't heard from my colleagues that much. No.
That's surprising.
That's disappointing.
Yes, I don't want to speak in the microphone about it. Okay, Marion, Sally, John. Are you warning me on time? Oh, no. Okay.
I hope you're no longer concerned with what your congregation feels about you. We love you, we support you, and we're very proud of you.
Thank you. I will say, I sat next to someone in New York, from New York, because we had a lot of bonding time, and there weren't many. There were, I think, most of the rabbis weren't congregational. There was a chunk of us, but not a ton of them. The were local. So the rabbis, and some from New York, and she said, well, how was it in your congregation? How was it in Cincinnati? And I think they don't understand what it's like here. And I said, you know what? I have it so good. I have it, and I knew it in that moment, and I knew it afterwards, but it's helpful to hear. I appreciate it. It was Richard? No, it was someone else. It was Sally. Okay, sorry.
I just want to echo what everyone else is saying about how proud I am.
Thanks, Sally.
And you are so into social justice, and that's why I came to Shalom, because of your role model, and I just love how you walk through.
Thank you. Thank you, Sally. I appreciate that. It was John, Richard. Okay, yeah.
Just a question for the group. How many of you have seen the anti-DACA ads about chain migration on television?
What is that?
Yes.
Does it strike you as really odd that since the Mayflower, that's how everybody's come to the United States, is through chain migration? Your parents, your great-grandparents, as one became successful, they then sent back for a brother, a sister, or a cousin who came over, who joined the community and grew the community?
John, chain migration was originally designed to bring in families of basically Northern Europeans.
Well, it was since the
they
Pilgrims.
originally designed it to do that.
Oh, really?
But I thought it just struck me as very anti-American.
Particularly Irish.
Very anti-American to be going and saying you don't want that, because it's how our heritage has been built.
That's interesting.
Hypocrisy.
So, Richard, you had something? Did you?
This is the last question, it's probably a good one.
Yeah.
What can we do?
About DACA, or about is that like this cause? So actually, they sent me they said, okay, I have a thing about protests and actions. I try to be at them because I think as a leader, it's important to be visible and present, and also to be a Jewish face in a lot of these non-Jewish environments. This one was fun because I knew all the words, but not fun. Actually, it wasn't fun at all. But you know what I mean. And so I always think, though, if it stays in the protest, stays in the action, then who cares? It wasn't a big deal. It was like a really bad party. And so I think that you could do a couple of things. I think that if you're comfortable calling your representatives, this is the week to be doing it. We are a solidarity congregation, so we can't be sanctuary because we don't have the space. Maybe at Longmeadow we would have been building beds in there, I don't know. But the case that we were really active on with Maribel Diaz was open. The first text I got when I walked out of the holding facility was that they admitted that they were wrong for deporting her. And I was like, I knew it. And our congregation was there, and we're vocal, and I think about all the different ways that we can be involved. The Reform Ohio there's Reform Ohio, Reform California, and Reform Texas. So there's the organizing collab where they have a key organizer who is bringing all the congregations together on certain issues. And it's our Lindsay Danziger, who is the rabbi there, and she's going to come and talk to us about how to get engaged on that. I find that showing up and being clear that you are Jewish in these places means something. And telling our immigrant story as part of it, while understanding that it was different and that we're connected to those things. I don't think it's small to be doing those things, and they're listening to, our representatives are listening right now. Maury?
I can't find it. I don't have it with me, but there is a phone number that they were asking us to text the words.
They have these tweets, but I'm guessing we're not a tweeting group here.
It's a tweet, it's a text, it's a number to text to.
Oh, really?
And that number will connect you
directly to your representatives. I don't know how it works. I'm not sure how. That
Okay, I can look it up. I mean, I can put it out there.
This is on all the information about.
I try to keep this, I warned everyone, but I try to keep it as Miriam and not Temple Sholom. But if Temple Sholom wants, we can share that information and be part of it. All right, last one, Taylor.
I just want to say, as a current rabbinic student at HEC, thank you for showing me what the rabbinate can be.
Thanks, Taylor.
Thank you.
Thank you. Taylor's our next intern, by the way. So I'll just close this. I want to, your support is really meaningful. I've worried a lot about it, and sorry, I feel a little better. Yeah. Well,
I feel you was better by now that you know that we're.
I know. It's good for me. It's my attempt at humility is to feel bad about myself.
It's in a good pocket.
It's my other pocket. It goes deep with me. But I think it's about that Exodus story, that there's this moment in this portion where the plagues are getting really, really bad, that Pharaoh starts bargaining with Moses and says, how about you just take the men? And Moses is like, no, it's all of us. We're all going. And then Sam reminded me, he comes back and says, you could just take the men. And Moses says, I'm taking the kids. I'm taking the children with me. And Pharaoh's concern is that if you're taking the children, that means you're never coming back, that freedom involves children. And I think that there's something that each of us are doing in our lives where we're taking our own risks. We're listening to people, we're acting, we're agreeing that children are our future and what that looks like, and that we're all connected in our liberation, that we're starting a moment in our time right now where we're counting, and that if Jewish Standard Time is teaching us anything, it's not that we're behind. I feel like we're always thinking that we're behind, we're missing something, and I don't have the time or the energy to do something, but you are doing something in your life right now. You are. And maybe to think about what Moses moment you have, or what moment that says, all of us are going, we're all doing this one. And if we can help in that, if your community can be together, if a group of friends can be there to help further that or push that, call on us. Because that's the whole point of being here. You could pray by yourself. But you need us to march with you, or to affirm you and say, I'm proud of you, even when you were scared the whole time. So that's what I want to leave with you. Shabbat Shalom. I want to welcome Robin up to share some words. And I thank you, especially Robin, as our president, for your encouragement, support, and I apologize publicly for being difficult.
We would expect nothing less.
Yes, every president.
Shabbat Shalom. It is said that actions speak louder than words, but we are fortunate because we have a rabbi who not only takes actions, but she's eloquent in her words. And we are blessed as a congregation for that. I want to thank our streamist, Bob Zeke. I would like to thank Marcy Mendelson as our candlelighter, Mark Bailey and the choir for their beautiful voices, Sam Kay for your interesting story about pockets, and good and bad, and always thinking there are two sides to every story. That Snort was our incoming rabbinic intern for the summer. Taylor, we are glad to have you here. If you notice that the sound is a little nicer today, I want to thank the Zeke family because they have purchased new microphones for us so that our streaming sound is better and our sound in this room is better. So thank you all for your generosity. There's a lot coming up. In particular, it's not too late. Tomorrow night we're having a game night. I'm sure all are welcome, and it should be an interestingly fun evening. We'll come up with things to do. I'm not a bingo person, but there's others. And there are a lot of other things that are going to be happening too. B'Shvat, we do a fun Seder. We do it in the sanctuary. There's food, not a meal, but food, so it's a lot of fun. I'll be in Florida, thank God. Purim is coming up, so if you want to be part of the Purim spiel, I don't sing, so I won't be doing that. But it is a Wizard of Oz Purim, so that should be a lot of fun. They always need people to help out with that. And in case you have nothing to do Sunday morning, we're having a board meeting, which is just always exciting to attend. And all are welcome to attend that as well. So with that, we will do a community prayer. May Adonai, the source of life, who blessed our ancestors, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, Sarah, Rebecca, Rachel, and Leah, bless the entire congregation of Temple Sholom. together with the synagogues in Cincinnati and all the holy congregations in this world. Bless our community, our children, our families, and all that is theirs, along with those who unite to establish synagogues for prayer, and those who enter them to pray, and those who devote countless hours of their lives so that our synagogue may be a thriving place of spiritual welcoming. May the Holy One reward those who contribute to our community with healing, forgiveness, and personal strength. May God bless them by prospering all their holy endeavors, as well as those of the entire people of Israel, and let us say,
Amen. Thanks, Robin. We'll begin the conclusion of our service with Aleinu on page 282 at the bottom. And when you reach that page, please rise. 282. Aleinu l'shabbat l'adon hakol, l'teiknu l'alot zebreshit, shelo asanu kiyoyeh haratzot, velo hasamanu kimishpachot adamah, shelo samlachenu kaher, v'gor aleinu kachol hamorah, v'na'afu omrim, turn the page. You know that Shabbat Yasar Oros, Mashaki Karov, Moshanai Bikao, Mushli Gatuzo, Mushli Gatuzo, Mikove Me'eromi, Uweloheinu Eino, Emechokeinu Etansugato, Kakatu Betorato, Betotayo, Betotayo, Betoshevata, Elemecho, Ki Adonai Elohim, Bashamai Bima'o, V'yoharetz, V'yoharetz, V'yitzah, 287. V'na'emad v'ha'adonai, v'melech ha'kol ha'aretz, v'yom ha'hu, yeh Adonai echad, u'shemo, Page 288. When I die, give what's left of me away to children and old men that wait to die. And if you need to cry, cry for your brother walking the street beside you. And when you need me, put your arms around anyone and give them what you need to give me. I want to leave you something better than words or sounds. Look for me in the people I've known or loved, and if you cannot give me away, at least let me live in your eyes and not in your mind. You can love me best by letting hands touch hands, by letting go of children that need to be free. Love doesn't die, people do. So when all that's left of me is love, give me away. We mourn the recent passing of Sam Boymel, dear friend of Richard Barish. Terry Barnett, Mayor Glimcher, father of Susan Siskind and grandfather of Jenna Jacobs. Stephanie Lorson Wright, sister-in-law of Laura Wright and Harry Gutman. Michael Arm, brother of Kathy Schwartz. And Vicki LeBlanc, sister of Dennis Wall. We can remember the yard sites, the anniversaries of the passing of Harry Meyerstein, Joan Pulaski, Bernard Schwab, Sidney Rothberg, Sylvia Spector, Sarah Axelrod, Rose Lizak, Dolores Levy, Gladys Warschauer, Wendell Wieser, Simon Strauss, Jonas Dickren Minson, Robert Krinnick, Elaine Rudd, Robert Epstein, Charlie Siskin, Shirley Siskin, Roy M. Zola, Francis Lauder, Sidney Grossman, Jacob Mendelson, Edward Reed. If you'd like to contribute a name or repronounce a name of someone that you're remembering, please share those names now. If you are in mourning or commemorate a yard site, please rise first. We acknowledge you, mourn along with you, rising together as a community of comfort for all those who mentioned out loud, those we hold in our hearts, and for all those who have no one to say Kaddish for them, as we continue with our words of comfort on page 294. Yitzkatal b'kadash shemei rava, v'yalma divrach yirete v'yamlich malchutev, v'chayachon v'yom echon, v'chayei decho be'Yisrael, v'gala v'zman kariv imrim. Yehei shmei rabba mevarach le'olam omei omaya. Yitvarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitramam v'yinaseh. V'yitadar v'yitale v'yitalal shmei kedisham. Le'ela min kol bechata v'shir'ata. Shush bechata v'nechamata. Da'amiram be'alma v'imru. Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya. V'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru. Oseh shalom bimromav, hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru. Oseh shalom bimromav, hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru, imru, amen. Ya'aseh shalom. Shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Ya'aseh shalom, ya'aseh shalom. Shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Zichronan livracha, may their memories be a blessing. Please be seated. So we're going to conclude with a feel-good civil rights song. We shall overcome. We shall overcome. We shall overcome someday. Oh, deep in my heart, I do believe that we shall overcome someday. We'll walk hand in hand. We'll walk hand in hand. We'll walk hand in hand someday. Oh, deep in my heart, I do believe that we shall overcome someday. If you connect to one another to receive a blessing, if you're online, you can put your hands out. If you're not a toucher, that's okay too, whatever works. And after this, where are you going to dinner?
We're really going to Mio's this time.
You're going to Mio's. Everyone is welcome to go to Mio's, and everyone's welcome to join us at the Women's March tomorrow.
Absolutely. We're going to sing our little hearts out.
Sing our little hearts out, Joyce. Okay. Yivarechecha Adonai v'yishmerecha, Ya'er Adonai panav elecha v'yichunecha, Yisa Adonai panav elecha v'yasem lecha shalom, shalom, shalom. V'yasem lecha shalom, shalom. V'yasem lecha shalom, shalom, shalom. v'yasam lecha shalom, shalom, v'yasam lecha shalom. May God bless you and keep you. May God's light shine upon you, be gracious unto you. When God's light shines upon you, you have the strength, the courage, the endurance, the perseverance, and the love to go out and make the world the way it should be because you are in it. And together we say, Shabbat Shalom.